Hi guys, welcome back to Carousel Techniques. I am Coach Kara, and surprisingly enough, we are here with another zodiac video. So today I want to just share with you about the rising signs or ascendant sign. My other videos are actually related to sun and moon personalities with the dark and light side and other relationship information regarding the signs in the zodiac. However, I've never done a rising sign video, and that's what we're talking about today. So if you are unfamiliar with what the rising sign is, well, it's part of the other two. So it's like a threesome sun, moon, and then your rising and or ascendant sign, which basically entails how people view you as a person, how you're seen, your overall persona when you are introduced to someone, or that sort of scenario. So how you're viewed and one's perspective of you. So that's what we're covering today. So firstly, we're going to talk about our fire rising signs. And so what that basically means is if you have, like, just say for instance, Gemini as your sun and maybe Virgo as your moon, but you don't really quite act as though you're a Gemini, but you may give vibes of like that of a Sagittarius, a fire sign. So that's what it kind of looks like when you're trying to explain what a rising sign is. And so we speak of rising signs. If you happen to have a fire sign, Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries as your fire sign, well, typically when you're viewed initially, you can come off as just a little intimidating, more of a person who demands some sort of respect or a demeanor that is a bit more serious. Yet at the same time, you're very approachable. You may gain a certain level of respect right away. That's kind of what your aura and your vibe and your energy is giving. Now, when we talk about fire signs as your rising sign, you have the appearance of someone who is very confident and may even appear as though you're trying to impress whomever it is that you are entertaining at that time. Not necessarily with conversation, but it could just be your overall appearance, your persona. Now when we talk about fire signs, you're either the life of the party, get turned up, get lit, faded, loud, obnoxious, that male, female, does not matter, or you're somewhere positioned to where you are seen. Now, fire signs are known to be extroverted. Though they are quite extroverted, it does not mean that they are friendly, like socially. And if they are, it is with people that they already know of. Now, again, they may not be as friendly, but they may engage with you for whatever purpose. And with the fire sign, you may get the energy of, okay, this is not going to be a long-term or full-term situation. I might as well have fun for the night or for this moment and make the night, just the night of it. So that's the energy you're going to get from a fire sign. Unless, of course, this individual is quite interested in you, mesmerized, intrigued by you for some reason. You may get a more reserved, even quite intimate. Like, they may be a little afraid to put themselves out there because of rejection. The whole fear of not measuring up, regardless of how confident they may feel. And Aries, or especially Aries, they actually battle with that, as well as a Sagittarius. Actually, all the fire signs. You're quite sensitive to rejection, so you proceed with caution when you're really interested in someone. Otherwise, what someone is going to get from you is that hot and cold type energy. And with fire signs, you have this masculine energy to where you like to lead a situation, you like to be in control. So you're basically, regardless if you are someone interested or not, you can have someone, you actually can be playing them as though they are a puppet of some sort. Like, hey, when I call you, you answer. If I don't call you, just deal with it. Type of vibe. Whenever you really want to be an a-hole, that sort of thing. But for the most part, if you have fire as your rising sign, you may feel as though you're always on edge, anxious. You have this impulsivity within you. You need to do something or completely do nothing at all and have everyone else do it for you. That type of mentality. Okay? So that's pretty much the gist of it. If you have fire as your rising sign, it's one of the more challenging signs of the zodiac because we have that whole stubborn energy, the whole masculine leadership type mentality. And so you may get a lot of push and pull with this sort of person. And if this happens to be your rising sign, well, you know exactly what it is that I speak of. Okay, so that is all for the fire rising signs of the zodiac. We are now moving on to air signs. Now here are the 3 signs in the zodiac will probably drive you crazy if you are really interested in them. Why? Because air signs, well, they have this energy, this vibe. They're charming and alluring and come off as free-spirited without a care in the world. Yet at the same time, they can come off as, detached and aloof and put you through this sort of what I call the bird effect. If they come towards you with interest and you come towards them back, they back away. And then you play this sort of push and pull dance for some time. Now, granted, they are very inquisitive. They're very verbal, have a dual perspective on most topics, especially Gemini and Libra. I mean, they're known for playing devil's advocate. They can see a situation from both sides, make it make sense so that you can understand it. Okay, they're very enthusiastic and in their demeanor, but at the same time, when you're engaging with them in dialogue, there's this sternness about them that they possess, almost quite intimidating, but at the same time, you get this calm vibe. It's a weird energy when it comes to the air sign. So it kind of make you feel as though you don't know how to place them. Because if you are interested in this person, it's going to be challenging because you don't know how to discern their needs, their needs or the wants, their desires, because with air signs, they tend to keep everything surface level. Even as friends, it may take air sign, especially a Gemini, to really open up to you, to trust you, to share their deepest thoughts and their past and their concerns. And for Aquarius, like, man, trying to get them to open up emotionally is so freaking challenging. You'll never know what their love language is. I mean, it's like a matter of figuring them out. And then Libra, they're so chill and calm. It's like they actually tell you what they want, but then when you give it and it's like, they don't really react to it the proper way. So there's a lot of I know there's a lot of mixed energy when it comes to the air sign, as far as being interested in them in a relationship or more intimate manner. So very, very challenging sign to interact with. But for the most part, they are lighthearted and free-spirited, keep you going, kind of. And as much as they are extroverted, they're equally as introverted, and they are friendly or whatever. But at some air signs have a tendency to go into this mood, this funk of leave me alone, go away. So you really have to learn your air rising sign. Now, if you are, let's say, a Virgo moon and Cancer moon, to where you're more earthly, you're more calm and free spirited, and or just more nurturing and emotional and sensitive, but then at times you may feel yourself being reclusive and just want to shut everyone out. You it's a weird vibe with air signs. You really have to study them to know them. So if you do have air in your chart as your rising sign, definitely study what that all of that entails. I'm just giving you a brief synopsis of this individual. Furthermore, air signs, in some aspect, they like the limelight. They like to be somewhat center of attention. Not a whole lot of attention on them, but they like to be the one in the group with the great conversation, or at some sort of event where they get some sort of acknowledgement or recognition in some manner. So they kind of put themselves out there to be seen and recognized in a way, in a good way though. It's not like in a boastful type way, but good for their ego and their confidence as well. So this is a very tricky sign if you are an air sign rising. Okay, moving right along, we are going into our earth rising signs. Earth signs are a more grounded sign and solid sign in the zodiac. So upon meeting them, you're going to see someone who has a demeanor of that, who is quite reserved, stern. Although they are conversing, it's going to take them a minute to warm up. And when I say, if you ever engage with an earth sign, it is a period that you feel like you can experience all 4 seasons with this individual. Okay, so it may take a minute for them to warm up, but when they do, they are ever inviting. Even though they may give you that stare down initially, if they do not know you, or even if they do know you, you're always going to get that once overlook, especially with the Capricorn. They size you up real quickly. But then once they begin to fill you out and they, get a little familiar with you, they'll open up and they become more inviting, to where you let your guard down so that they can let theirs down as well. Earth signs are quite challenging to earn their trust and to just open up wholeheartedly, because this is typically a very genuine sign, and they usually come across a lot of individuals who like to try to take advantage or manipulate them. So they come off as stern, yet they are quite fragile and gentle inside. Earth signs can be very nurturing and giving to those that they truly care about, but of course that comes with a price. You have to earn it. Nothing's going to come easy, not even friendship, to ask for their telephone number. Well, hold on a second, let's just hang out a few more times before we get to that, so there's always going to be like baby steps into their world, but they usually have an overall image of that, of someone who is very well dressed. They keep themselves very well maintained. And with earth signs, especially Taurus, it's all about image, how they are seen, how people their perspective, others' perspectives on them, how they present themselves, how others portray them as a person. It really matters, but at the same time it doesn't, if that makes sense. So so you're going to get a lot of energy of someone who's just overall no nonsense type person. But once you really get to know an earth sign, they may come off as very funny, even goofy, playing jokes, pranks. That is when you'll know when they have let you into their life. And once that happens, you'll begin to hear all sorts of stories. They'll begin to confide in you. You'll find it very easily to confide in them, tell all your problems, cry on their shoulders. They'll be right there to pat you and make you feel better. So this is a sign that you can really indulge in, unless of course they are toxic as hell and they may not care, and then you get a whole lot of other things like the other signs. But with earth signs, you really have to take them seriously. You really do. You have to take them seriously, and they don't get a lot of that. They just get, like I said, those who like to manipulate and just try to take advantage of them. But there are repercussions to that. Okay, so if you are an earth rising sign, you may find it quite challenging just to date someone because of that, because you come off as someone who's serious, but at the same time, most toxic people don't know how to appreciate someone who's going to treat them well, you know. So with that, you give the same energy, you know, whatever they're giving, that's what you give. All right. And so, yeah, it's quite challenging for both earth rising signs to be in relationships, regardless if you have like Cancer as your moon or Libra as your sun sign. You know, the more romantic type signs, it's going to give that energy of whoa, 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 whoa. Everything is always on point, on pause, and there are steps to an earth signs world. But nevertheless, earth signs are very grounded. They're solid. They know what the hell they want. You can't tell them what to do. They may tell you what they're going to do, not necessarily needing your opinion or your support, because, well, they're kind of selfish and just do whatever the hell they want. You know, they live life at the own beat of their drums, regardless if you like it or not. But hey, that just makes them them. All right. So moving right along to our last sign. Rising sign, that is, which are the water signs, Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. So if you have a water rising sign, initially when someone is introduced to you or you meet them, you may come off as very hard to read. They may not know how to interpret your overall persona, your characteristics, because, well, water signs are mysterious, just generally mysterious. You know, you wear that stern poker face. You're not really showing if you're interested or not. You're just there. And boy, oh boy, depending on where you guys are, you become the life of the party. You're great conversationalists. You are jokesters, very flirtatious. Pisces are more or less low-key flirtatious. Like, they give off indications that they are interested and they are enthused and impressed by you. And so when you are in that setting, and water signs are better, more comfortable in a setting of crowds, you know, a lot of people, so they can lighten up, and you know, the spotlight isn't on them, because with this sign, they're very timid and quite reserved when it comes to someone's impression of them, because this is a sign who can be very critical, self-critical of themselves, you know, not really self-assured. So they need that from others. So whatever your initial analysis of them, it really matters with water signs. They take it to heart and they're quite sensitive to that. So they want you to like them. So that's why you may get a lot of conversation and jokey and flirtatious vibes. And they can be very lively, especially in a setting where there's music and ambiance and that whole sort of thing. You can get a lot of that from a water sign, especially a Cancerian. Scorpios, they just go hard and just lose it. But for the most part, if you are interested in dating a water rising sign, you kind of need to tread lightly and feel their vibe, because this is a sign whose emotions run very deep. As they say, still waters run deep, and that is so true. So you can't just make an assumption based on the energy that they're giving you, because whatever they're feeling is far more deep than you know. You understand? And you just can't say things that you think might impress them, or dress a certain way, or have a vibrant personality. No, that may not do it for a water sign. With water signs, especially your rising, you're going to have to make love to their heart. you're gonna have to touch their heart. Touching the heart is like entering into their soul, getting to the depth of who they are. And then that's when you're going to get a whole lot of reaction from these water signs. You're going to get the reactions that you wanted, the subtle gestures of, hey, I'm interested in you. You're going to get, you'll begin to see that. But if you just show offy and want to show off your new look or your clothes or your car, that's not going to do it, my love. This is water signs is a sign of great depth. Everything about them is deep. Okay, so you're going to have to know them on a deeper level. Though they may come off as very surface based, you have to take your time with water signs. It's like a crescendo. It builds and builds, and the longer you stay in, the more you know. You can't rush it because you might make them nervous, and then they might retreat. And then that's when you may never get what it is that you need from them when you should. You understand? So, but for the most part, this is a tricky sign, no less. Like I said, they're kind of hard to read. They may give off one vibe, but they may feel differently within. So you kind of have to stick around to see what it is that you're going to get from them. But yeah, Cancer rising sign is a good sign to have, because you will be able to tap into that nurturing part of you, becoming more vulnerable into your emotions. Especially if you have like Cancer as your rising sign, you know for certain that when you feel deeply, you feel all your feels, you know what they are, and you understand them. The issue that you have is others may not. Okay, so it can be quite challenging for you to articulate your feelings to others, especially when they just don't understand you or they can't read you, externally. Okay, all right, guys. So that is all for the rising signs of the zodiac: fire, air, earth, and water. Hopefully, this has been somewhat informative. There's a lot more that you can learn about your relationship. I just wanted to touch bases with, every aspect of life, how that kind of works. Okay, so let me know your thoughts. Let me know your rising sign. My rising sign just happens to be Pisces, if you were curious. All right, but I thank you all for joining me, my loves. That is all for now. Until next time.